Okay. All right, so problem number 1 has an equal sign. So that means, Nicholas, that we are, whatever. All right, but problem number 1 doesn't work. So change this 2 to a 3. So this problem is solving. In order to solve, you have to set something equal to 0. It's a 3. Because I told you to change it. You would know if you quit chit-chatting. So I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. Get 2x squared minus 5x minus 7 equals 0. So because this has an equal sign, this equal sign right here tells me I'm going to solve the problem. I can't make an eye chart because x squared has a number in front. So to get rid of that number, I'm going to multiply. So x squared minus 5x minus 14. And I need factors that multiply to 14. What multiplies to 14 and subtracts to 5? X minus 7, x plus 2. Since I multiplied by 2, what do I have to remember to go back and do? How did I get what? Because I can't make a eye chart because there's a 2 in front of my x squared. So I multiplied, slide divide, right? Okay. Maybe. So because I multiplied by 2, I have to go back and divide by 2. 7 can't be divided by 2, so I have 2x minus 7 times x plus 1 equals 0. So you have to set each factor equal to 0. 2x minus 7 equals 0. X plus 1 equals 0. So on the first one, if I solve for x, I add 7 to the other side. So I'd get 2x equals 7. And when I divide by 2, I will get x equals 7 halves. And then for the second factor, when I subtract 1, I will get x equals negative 1. These are zeros or roots or solutions or x-intercepts. So what this is telling me is that if I were to graph this equation, where would it cross my x-axis? At 7 halves and at negative 1. That's what these are. These are your x-intercepts, your zeros, your roots, your solutions. They all mean the same thing. Okay. Just a point on a graph. All right, so example number 2. First thing I know is I'm solving right here because there's an equal sign, so I have to solve. Before I can solve, I have to set it equal to 0. So 3x squared minus 18x equals 0. What can I do to 3x squared and 18x? What do they have the same? What is that, GCF? 3 what? 3x. So I'm going to factor out a 3x. If I factor out a 3x, I am left with x minus 6 equals 0. Do I need to make an eye chart? Do I need to slide divide? None of that stuff. So these are my factors. I have to turn my factors into solutions. So my first factor is 3x. It has to equal 0. My second factor is x minus 6, and it has to equal 0. So my first factor, if I divide both by 3, x will equal 0. And if I add 6 in my second factor, x will equal 6. So if I were to graph this equation, it would cross my x-axis at 0 and 6. Do we understand the difference between factoring and solving? We are factoring, we're just taking it one step further to solve. Okay, questions? All right, then let's go do that word problems. Given two consecutive positive odd integers, the product of the larger and twice the smaller is equal to 70. Find the integers. So let's break it all down. Two consecutive, what's consecutive mean? In order, right next, 1, 2, 3, that's consecutive. Positive obviously means my answer cannot be negative. Odd, what are my odd numbers? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So listen what I ask. Give me an example of two consecutive odd integers. What's an example of two consecutive odd integers? 3 and 5, those are consecutive odd. 11 and 13, consecutive and odd. We understand what we're looking for here? Okay. So if my first number, I don't know what it is, but I call it X, that's my first number. And then, so we can write that X is my first number. How can I get to the second number? How much do I have to add? So if I have 3 and 5, how do I get from 3 to 5? What can I do to it? Plus 2. So go check another one. 11 and 13 were consecutive odds. So how did I get from 11 to 13? Plus 2. So my first number is just X. My second number has to be X plus 2. All right. So now we got to read carefully. The product, what's product mean? Multiply. The larger, which one's the larger number, the first or the second? The second. So I'm multiplying the large number, so that's X plus 2. What am I multiplying it by? Twice the small. So I'm multiplying it by twice my small number. Equals 70. Questions on how I got that? Okay. Product means I'm multiplying the larger number. The larger number is X plus 2, and I'm multiplying it by twice the small number. So now I can distribute. So I will have 2x squared plus 4x equals 70. This is an equal sign, which means I am solving. And when I solve, what does it have to equal? 0. So I have to move my 70 to the other side. So 2x squared plus 4x minus 70 equals 0. 2x squared, 4x, and 70. GCF is 2. So I take a 2 out. I'll be left with x squared plus 2x minus 35. And now I can make an eye chart or find my factors. What numbers multiply to 35 that add or subtract to 2? X plus 7 and x minus 5. Don't forget about your GCF. He's got to hang out in the front. Equals 0. All of my factors have to multiply or have to be set equal to 0. Every single factor. So my GCF has to set equal to 0. X plus 7 equals 0. X minus 5 equals 0. Can 2 equal 0? No, so that one crosses out. When I solve for x, I'll get x equals -7. And when I solve for this x, I'll get x equals 5. Which one's the correct answer? Why is 5 the correct answer? Because it had to be a positive odd integer. So this one, it cannot be. It can't be -7 because it had to be a positive integer. So my answer says find the integers. So if x equals 5, what does x plus 2 equal? 7. So my odd consecutive integers are 5 and 7. All right, we're going to do one more, and then you'll have the rest of the class to practice. The height of a triangle is 3 inches less than twice the length of its base. If the total area of a triangle is 7 square inches, find the length of the base and the height. Anytime it gives you a shape, I would draw it because it just makes it easier. Okay. So I have my triangle. It says the height of a triangle is 3 less than twice the base. Do I know what the base is? No, so I put a letter. So my base is going to be x. So how do I write 3 less than twice the base? So this height will be 2x minus 3, twice the base and 3 less than. Okay. It says the area is 7. How do I find the area of a triangle? Yes, 1/2 your base times your height. So I have 1/2 my base. What was my base? X times my height. What is my height? 2x minus 3 equals the area, and the area is 7. So here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to leave my 1/2 for it. Okay. I'm going to distribute. So leave your 1/2 real quick for me. And let's distribute. What is x times 2x? 2x squared. What is x times -3? -3x equals 7. Now, I can distribute this 1/2 and get some ugly numbers and fractions. What else could I do to this 1/2? How could I get rid of it? I can multiply both sides by 2. So I'm going to multiply the left side of the problem by 2 and the right side of my problem by 2. So I now have 2x squared minus 3x equals 14. What do I need to do with that 14? Subtract it so I can set it equal to 0. So 2x squared minus 3x minus 14 equals 0. Is there a GCF? No. So how do I get rid of the 2 in front? Slide and divide. So x squared minus 3x minus 28. What will my two numbers be? What gives me 28? 7 and 4. To get a -3, I need a -7 and a +4. Since I multiplied by 2, I have to come back and divide by 2. 7 can't be divided by 2, so 2x minus 7 and x plus 2 has to equal my 0. So I'm going to set both of these equal to 0. So 2x minus 7 equals 0. X plus 2 equals 0. When I add 7 and then divide by 2, x will equal 7/2. And when I subtract 2, x will equal -2. X was my base. Which one of these is my base? 7/2. I can't have a negative base. This can't happen. So I know that my base equals 7/2. It also tells me to find the height. My height was 2x minus 3. But instead of x, what can I put in there? 7/2. So 2 times 7/2 minus 3. 2 times 7 is 14. Divided by 2 is just 7 minus 3. So what does my height equal? 4. So my base is 7/2 and my height is 4. If you read these equations like word for word, they will write themselves, okay? So you just have to read exactly what it says in order for it to write the equation. I don't hope we need it, but how do you find the area of a rectangle? Length times width, base times height. How do you find perimeter? You add all your sides, or 2 lengths and 2 widths, okay? If I were you, I'd get started. I don't care if you do all of these. I'd maybe go do 4 or 5 solving and then go to your word problems. This whole packet is on your quiz tomorrow. And if I remember, I think it's 6 questions. I think it might be 8. I think it's 6. Okay. Don't forget, if you're retaking, all your retake stuff is due Wednesday at midnight because you'll retest Thursday in class.